Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. Today we are testing 1, 2, 3. We're going to talk about equipment needs and how to kind of find what works for you. For Joe, obviously he has a wheelchair. In our house, he also has a long mat that he can stretch out on. But we're going to try something that came from Joe's classroom at school. It's called a pea pod. And there's several different kinds of these. It's basically like a little air-filled canoe, and it's for people who have sensory needs where they need to feel closed in, but it's also good for people who need additional support when they're sitting. And we're going to try it out. Now we know they used it at school, but we've never tried it at home, and we want to see if it's a good idea to purchase one of these items. But testing things out, having the ability to test something out before you purchase it is so vital when you're trying to work with somebody who has a lot of needs, because you know, we have a pile of things that we've purchased that didn't work, and you know, that's just not very good to do. So 3. All right, Joe. Come in. I think as you get used to it, you remember using this at school? So one of the things I can see is that Joe's going to need support for his head. He's very spastic and very tight. So it's going to take a little while for him to sink into this. But he's used it before, so as you can see, he's getting used to it. Do you feel cozy? What do you think? Do you remember sitting in this in school? Try these things in stages because Joe needs time to adjust. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try it a little bit by little bit and see how it works for him. Okay? So I will tell you another thing. Joe does not get in a piece of equipment until I have personally tried it and tested it for comfort and safety. So far, I like this pretty well. When you're going to look for equipment and you want to try to borrow it before you try it out, before you purchase it, there's some ways to do that. So here's a list of potential ways to do that. You can ask a physical therapist. If your child is working with a therapist, they usually know a lot about equipment, and they've tried different pieces of equipment because they work with more than just one person. Check with the school. Now, even if you're doing distance learning, you can find out what your child was using in school before we left school or what they're using now while they're in the classroom. That's where this came from. And then ask other parents of kids who have similar issues to your child, what do they use at home? A lot of times they've heard from someone else and found things the same way you do. And if they're not using that piece of equipment anymore, you can borrow it and try it out for your kids. So that's a really good way to test things out before you purchase. Most of these therapy things are fairly expensive, so it's a good idea. And then here are some other resources. FODAC is Families of Disabled Adults and Children, and they will give you equipment for free. You have to be a member, but they're located in Stone Mountain, and you can check in with them, and they will tell you what kinds of pieces of equipment you have, and you can get things from them. Our bike came from there. That was in a previous episode. One of Joe's standers came from there. And Tools for Life is another resource. They mostly do communication and educational games, but they also can help you with testing out. Communication equipment is hard to figure out too, so that's a good option too. So I'm just going to relax for a while, and we will see you next time. Go to my blog, and if you have anything you want to ask us, feel free to private message us, or please go to our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesday with Jane and Joe, and we will see you next time.